real estate investing can completely change your life. It can give you freedom, income, and long-term security. But it can also cost you more money than you ever thought possible. This is the true story of my best real estate investment and my worst. Hi, my name is Ricky, and I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in real estate. But I've also lost over 100 grand on just one deal. Let's start with the win. My best investment was my first rental property, and it came from a simple conversation. A family friend who was a mortgage broker helped me get pre-qualified for a $150,000 loan. At the time, I didn't know much. I was just learning, and I only made $37,000 a year. But that one conversation opened the door. I ended up finding an undervalued property with potential in an up-and-coming neighborhood and bought it for $90,000 in an owner-occupied home, so I only had to put 3.5% down. I didn't even have all the cash at the time. My cousin gifted me $4,000 to cover the down payment, which I paid back later. At closing, something important happened. My realtor negotiated a deal where the sellers would credit me cash back towards closing, about 50% of the repair costs identified at the inspection. My total closing costs were about $7,000 before the credit, so I paid virtually $0 out of pocket. After living in the house for 1 year, I moved out and listed it for rent. My mortgage was around $650 a month, and I rented it for $1,100. I screened tenants carefully, background checks, credit checks, and ended up with great renters. Fast forward 10 years. The property value climbed to about $330,000. The neighborhood flourished, allowing me to increase rent to $1,700 per month. Over that entire decade, I only put about $15,000 into repairs and maintenance. After accounting for the down payment, loan interest, repairs, and some vacancy, that one property generated about $300,000 in profit. Today, it still cash flows $400 to $600 a month, and there's roughly $250,000 in equity. That first deal changed my life, and honestly, it also made me overconfident. In 2021, after owning 3 single-family homes, I decided to level up. I wanted to go commercial, which meant buying a property with 5 or more units. I saved up $60,000 and started looking across multiple states. Eventually, I chose Ohio. The property taxes were low, the prices looked great, and I found a 100-year-old 6-unit property at $240,000. It was marketed as turnkey, and it showed it could have a 20% profit margin each month. I bought it, putting 25% down, which was the full $60,000 I had saved. I picked a property management company based on a recommendation from the old owner. That was my first mistake. And for the first 6 months, everything looked great. I was making about $1,000 per month, which was a 20% return on my investment. The property was grossing around $3,600 each month, while the mortgage was only $1,800 and the expenses were between $500 and $800. Then, things started to fall apart. Tenants stopped paying, evictions followed. Every turnover cost was $2,000 to $3,000 in repairs, over and over again. Then, the roof started leaking. That was another $2,000. Then the sewer backed up and flooded the basement. At the same time, the property management company became unreliable. My calls went unanswered and problems piled up. Because this was a commercial property, the loan was $180,000 at 8% interest. Insurance kept increasing because of crime in the area, and property taxes climbed past 3%. My mortgage went from $1,800 to $2,200 and eventually over $3,600 a month. Then rent dropped. At one point, the property was only grossing $1,800 a month, meaning I was losing money every single month before any repairs. Even after finding new tenants, rent only recovered to about $2,000 to $3,000, nowhere near enough to cover the costs. Then something happened that sealed it. There was a shooting at the property, which meant more repairs, more money, more risk, more stress, and even higher insurance costs. And I knew I had to get out. In 2023, I listed the property for $300,000. No offers. After 6 months on the market and multiple price reductions, I switched agents. Still nothing. Eventually, I listed it on Facebook Marketplace and sold it to a wholesaler for $180,000. After transaction costs, interest, and repairs, I lost over $100,000 in 3 years. So, what did I learn? That deal taught me more than an ebook ever could. I learned that you need to research specific neighborhoods, not just the city or the state. Never take a property management referral from the seller. Call around, talk to other investors, Ask locals about the area. Talk to insurance agents before buying. Ask banks about worst-case scenarios and what could cause mortgages to increase. Understand how bad things could really get. Distance matters. Cross-country investing adds complexity and risk. And most importantly, real estate isn't like the stock market. With stocks, you can only lose what you put in. In real estate, you can lose everything and then some. My first property took less than an hour a week to manage, but the second took 5 to 10 hours a week. Definitely not a passive investment, more like a second job, not to mention the constant stress and anxiety. Real estate is powerful. I still believe in it. The leverage is incredible, but as potential returns increase, so does the risk. Learn from my wins, learn even more from my losses, because in real estate, the lessons are expensive. And if you want to learn how money really makes the world go round, follow for more money moves they didn't teach you in school.